Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Bream Fishing Project. And we are off to one of my favorite locations, the mighty Georges River, to review the Action Fishing Tournaments Round 2 for 2025. This was held on the 1st of February. It was a cracking event. Got to attend, caught a couple of okay fish, but not quite enough to get right into the big money. Anyway, let's roll the intros and I'll get straight into it. Here we go.
Welcome to the Bream Fishing Project. This is where you need to be every Tuesday to find out all the latest tips and tricks to help you target bream on lures. You'll get to hear from some of Australia's elite bream competition anglers and see how they were able to achieve their results in competitions around the country. Now, here's your host, the 2019 Hobie Kayak Fishing World Champion, Andrew Deeth.
Alrighty, so there's a couple of things to get through. First of all, I want to make mention of the up-and-coming tournaments for the Action Fishing Tournaments. Now, they have started a comp down at or up at in Brisbane, and their next round will be Saturday the 10th of May at Redcliffe. So if you're interested in having a crack, all you need is a kayak, PFD and all that sort of stuff. You need an Action Fishing Tournaments brag mats, are about $20 or $25, something like that, and a smartphone, and off you go. Anyway, definitely have a look at that. On the same day, the Sydney guys are at Tuggerah Lakes on the 10th of May. So there you go. Okay, and then as usual, a little bit of chat about the collective. So if it's something you've been thinking about, whether it's just to support the podcast, again, just kind of a thank you, please feel free to sign up. You want to get something out of it. Our next Zoom meeting or live stream will be on Wednesday, the 1st of May. We'll be getting into our next focus group, and yeah, we got a couple of cool things going on there. So if that's something you're interested in, get across to breamfishingproject.supercast.com. You can sign up for a year, you can sign up for a month, whatever you want to do. Cancel anytime. It is all good. But if it's something you're into, definitely get onto that probably by Monday. So I've got a chance to get all the invites out for Wednesday of next week. All right. So this one was a pretty cool event, although yeah, I reckon if your name didn't start with J, you weren't even a look in, and that'll become apparent as you listen to the episode. Cool thing about this is all the guys have been on the show before, so that's pretty cool. Anyway, for this one, 1st of February in 2025, on the Georges River, we had 69 in the fish activity wheel and a minor bite period at 7:59 through to 9:29. The low tide was at 4:54 a.m. at 0.07. Running up to a high at 11:14 a.m. at 1.66. And I would say, based on my own fishing in that one, I did get fish all through the day and a couple of upgrades around 12 o'clock. And I think, well, that's a little bit back. I think we finished around 12:30. So almost right at the end before I was still getting upgrades. So there you go. All right, let's get into the angler interviews. Here we go. Okay, so first up, we've got an angler who is a regular on the Bream Fishing Project. He had 3 fish measuring 34, 40 centimeters, and 30 centimeters, giving him a total of 104, pipping me on a countback. We got the same measurement, but he wins. I'd like to welcome back to the Bream Fishing Project, Joshua Richards. Welcome back, mate.
Hey, Tran, how are you going?
Mate, I'm good. Mate, you've gone well in the AFT comps. It's been a good little run for you.
Yeah, I am. Spending a bit of time on the water, been good. Hopefully do a bit more of them. And, well, I've entered everyone, so I'll be at every one of them.
Yeah, very good. And then also, you've had a kayak change since we last spoke.
I have. I've gone from like the top of the range PA 14 with all the gear back into a old Outback with nothing. No sounder, no nothing, no 180 drive, no nothing.
Right. Okay. Mate. So, all right. So how's that been for an experience for you?
I'm quite shocked with how well it is. So it'd be good to just go back to a bare minimum and do what you love doing and just be happy doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. And look, I fished out of an Outback similar, a little bit newer than yours, but similar sort of thing. And they're a great kayak, especially for an older model.
Most definitely, yeah. I picked mine up for net to nothing. I had planned to get a length like everyone else did, just for easy because I fit like my local river. I fit like the week normally, and it's just easy to get on and off the roof and that. But I bought the Outback and I was like, yeah, why not? Just stay with it and yeah, happy. I definitely want to get a 180 drive though. That really, yeah, that's the only thing that I struggled with, the 180.
Yeah.
I'm happy with no sounder. That didn't bother me. Anything like that, I'm like, yeah, cool with. But it was funny that the 180 drive on the weekend, the first time really fishing for brim, like in an arena where like you need a 180 as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was hard after many years of having one.
Mate, you'll have to go back to the old hand paddle that we used to use.
Well, I didn't even carry a paddle. I never ever have carried a paddle. I use my net. I've got like one of the big Berkeley nets. So
Yeah.
I always use my net. Yeah, that's my paddle.
Well, there you go. All right, mate. Let's get into this round. Mate, do you get a pre-fish at all, or?
I'll be honest, I haven't fished for brim since the start of December. So yeah, I haven't had the time, and with Christmas break and everything, and had probably everyone money been tight and just it's been cooked. So
Okay.
been a bit hard. But no, I haven't really fished for brim at all, and I haven't fished the Georgia since the last round, which is probably nearly a year ago now.
Yeah, it's a while back. Okay. All right. Well, then tell us, what was your plan then going in? What were you thinking you were going to do?
Plan was to go hit Captain Cook Bridge first thing in the morning with a low tide at I think it was like 5 a.m. or something like that.
Yeah, 4:48. Yeah.
Yeah. So the tide was good. You get not a lot of run, but enough run that you'd be able to move through there, which is how you like to fish it. And then I plan to, with the run in, I have a bank that I like to fish on a run in tide at Kangaroo Point. I find the water come through, push it onto all the pontoons and all that there. And I normally do really well through there.
Sure.
And then I was just going to slowly work my way, downriver, but toward Como and just have a look around, just for something different. Normally I fit the front of the system, but I just wanted to have a look and get out and have something different of a day.
Yeah. Yeah. And by all accounts, in terms of fish numbers, you had a bit of a tough day.
I had a very tough day. Yeah. I caught 3 fish all day, like no bycatch, no nothing, 3 brim. That would be it.
Right.
And I don't know if it was something that I was doing, but yeah, just tough.
All right. Well, tell us about your 3 fish. Tell us about how you found them.
Both fish early came off the front bridge. So Captain Cook, I just went up there. Steve from Tackle Luke bought me a packet of gear that I bought.
Yeah.
So I had a 50 mil crab in there that I had planned to just try and keep that crab. Because I know there's some big fish that sit on that bridge, but they can be hard and you lose a lot of fish, a lot of crab on the bridge to a snag.
Yeah.
But yeah, the plan is to hopefully get 3 good fish off that bridge and then just go have an easy day and have a fun fish. Because normally the river fish as well, even though I don't fish it a lot, normally you do kind of good no matter when you go out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just whacked 2 fish really early. So like the 34 came first.
Yep.
And then within a minute or two later, like 2 casts later, I hit the 40 on the head as well. Which was good. Like,
you're like, here we go.
Yeah, I was like, yep, whack, beautiful. Which is how I kind of planned it to happen. I wanted to get that tide early and then whack a couple of fish and then just go pedal and have a enjoyable day fishing just like you normally would. Don't have to stress about anything. As long as I had a bag, I didn't really mind.
Yeah. So you left after those 2 fish straight away?
No, I waited until it would have been about 9 o'clock.
Okay.
And about 5 or 6 casts after I hooked them 2 fish, I ended up losing the 50 mil crab.
Ouch.
Yeah, which was like my only one, but normally it doesn't really matter. I just eat the smaller crab anyway. Put a smaller crab on, still a heavy fishing, like the deeper poles. And yeah, I had 1 or 2 little touches. Other than that, I didn't get another bump at all.
Right.
So it was like nearly 9 o'clock. By then, the tide was pumping through there.
Yeah.
Boat traffic was pretty hectic, like always. And without a 180 drive, it's a bit hard to like maneuver yourself. And I ended up getting frustrated. So I was like, oh. So I pedaled up underneath the other bridge, whatever that other bridge is.
I'm ugly. Yeah.
Yeah. And I had a couple casts at a pole on the way through. But again, I've never ever caught a fish off there where other people have it. I've seen other people catch fish, but I've never ever caught a fish.
Yeah, wow.
So I made my way up to the face of Kangaroo Point, I think it is.
Yeah.
Which is like the net corner. So with the water pushing on there, with the tide now running kind of hard, I thought, yeah, bait's going to be pushing onto that bank. And within 3 or 4 pontoons, all I planned to do was just crank pontoons, really. I had a crab and a little Camden tiny tuned to run under the pontoon, and I was just like switching it up, have a couple with the crank, have a couple with the crab, and like something going to eat something. Normally, I do really well through there, and on every pontoon, you'll be pulling fish, but I couldn't even get a fish. I get halfway through the stretch of pontoons, which is probably, I don't know, 30 maybe.
Yeah.
And there was this random rock sitting on the bank, half covered in water. And I was like, I'd throw the cams in at it and get one crank. And I got my third fish off a random rock. I had no growth on it, no nothing, just a random little rock with the cams in tiny. They can't even swim straight. And I was like, okay. And then again, nothing.
It's bag.
That was it. It was probably 10 o'clock by then, 10:30.
Ouch.
Yeah. And then I ended up pedaling up toward Como, fit a couple of bits and pieces up there that I don't mind. Didn't catch anything again. Came back and looked at the reef outside like Connaught Point or whatever that bay there, out the front of there. Again, with no sounder, I roughly knew where it was, but I didn't know where it was, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I can't be like, yep, I'm 100% on it. So I did 2 drift through there, and by then the wind was blowing kind of bad through there, but on a weird angle with the current. So you weren't getting a drift, you get like put sideways, which was really annoying.
Yeah.
But I ended up finding the reef a few times with a vibe. So I knew I was roughly there. But again, I didn't get a hit.
Yeah. It's been quiet lately.
Yeah.
I haven't done well there.
Yeah, I just thought, again, it's more of a winter time, but it's a reef. Like the fish are going to be there.
Yeah.
Like food there, especially the running tide. Again, the water coming around that corner, pushing onto that little bit of a bank.
Yeah.
So there's water pushing up there. You think there'd be something there. But I don't know. Maybe it was just me. Maybe I was too impatient. I don't know.
Hard to know.
Yeah.
Like I said, the reef hasn't fished well for me recently. The only type place I've got fish on that reef is right against the northern bank.
Yeah, okay.
Relatively tied in.
Yeah, okay.
So,
there we go. Yeah, and I pedaled back up toward Tom Ugly. Then I fit every pole of the northern side of ocean side.
Oh, yeah.
With a Camson. Again, just cranking every pole, thinking the water's high now.
Yeah.
All the oysters are up high, are like in the water now that we're out of the water. Fish are going to be high if they're going to be there. And I had one of the last poles I fished. I had 2 hits on there with the Camden. Didn't feel like good fish. And that was it. That was my day.
That was your day.
I had a really slow, tough day. But still, was enough to supposedly do all right.
Yeah, that's how it works, mate. You wouldn't be the first one to win a comp with only 3 fish, but
Won't be the first, it won't be the last, I'd tell you that.
That's it. Good result, tough day.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. All right. Well, mate, I reckon that pretty much covers it. I like the fact that you're in a kayak with no bling.
Nothing at all. Yeah.
Not even a paddle.
No paddle, no rod holder, no nothing. I picked up a secondhand live well so I could have a couple of rods behind me.
Yep.
Other than that, I have nothing. Yeah, no 180, no nothing.
Yep.
And unless I find a cheap 180 somewhere, I'm not going to go spend $1,000 or $1,200 or whatever they are on one.
Sure.
Because that's going to be worth more than the Outback itself.
Yeah.
Funny enough. But unless I find something cheap, then that's how it will be.
Be for a while. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, probably until the end of the year.
Yeah.
I have no need to change it, really.
Yeah. I mean, I like them. They're a good kayak, even for an older unit.
Most definitely. And for me, like, it lived on my car. I bought it like end of November, and like the 2.5 months, it probably spent, out of the 2.5 months, I reckon probably a week of it have not been on my roof. It just lived on my roof.
Okay.
So that's probably where it will live now.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, mate.
No, definitely.
We buy them to use them.
I'm definitely the weirdo that drives around with the kayak on the roof that everyone knows. Definitely. That stands out from a crowd.
Very good. Very good. All right, mate. I guess we should ask, what leader were you running for the comp?
On the bridge, I was running 8-pound Chinook Harris.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I know how gnarly it can be.
Yeah.
And with the 8 pounder, I have been able to pull hook, like bend hooked open and get crab back.
Yeah.
And I don't find their leader shy anyway, really.
Yeah.
But other than that, I had everything else tied with sit pound because, again, my plan was to fish heavy structure, and that was it. Like,
Yeah.
normally sit pound, I'll pull anything out on sit pound, lock drag, and go for gold. Normally it's pretty good. I found it's like really tough and really good.
Yeah. I think so. At 6 pound, you can put a bit of hurt on them.
Yeah, definitely. That's all I've been running for all my bass, funny enough. And people are like, what? And I'm like, yeah. But again, I've been pulling like high 40 centimeter fish every night on sit pound, like dragging them through weed and dragging them out of trees, just to lock drag and to go for gold.
Yeah, okay. And what, I assume you're FG knot?
FG, yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And your terminal knot?
It is
It's not a uni knot.
Nah, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head, to be honest. But if I go to a jig head, anything like that, it's a loop knot, it's a standard loop knot. But 8 out of 10, like all my hard bodies, all my crabbed, all that kind of stuff will go with a clip. The only thing I run without a clip is a jig head.
A jig head?
We'll go to FG knot.
Okay. And what clip are you running? What do you like?
The decoy.
Like S clips?
No, the normal one. They're like a round clip, just a normal tiny decoy. In the 000, which are like, they're tiny. And I've thankfully never ever had one pop open yet.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they're only rated to like 12 kilos or something, I think. Something like that, or 12 pound or whatever they are. They're only tiny.
Yeah, wow.
But I've never had one pop open. So it's been lucky. I've heard of people having pop open, but again, that's with everything. It's good and bad and everything. But I've been lucky.
Yeah. Oh, very good. Very good. All right, mate, for coming in third place, just getting me, I'll just say again.
Yeah.
What'd you get to take home?
$250. So not a bad way to recoup some money from a cheap kayak and
100%.
hopefully put it back to a bit more fishing gear. So
it'll go back into the system, I reckon.
Yeah, it's already gone back into the system, to be honest. So I'm fishing the New South Wales Bream, the New South Wales tournament
series.
Yeah, on the weekend. So
yeah, cool. Who's your partner?
James Farr.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've only fished with him once before, but jumping on a heat boat and we're doing a few and hopefully get something going on. So I said to him, like, if he's not 100% keen, then I don't want to be wasting money on anything. So
sure.
Good, money's been tight, but he's keen. So let's see if we can.
Yeah, nice.
Work hard and hopefully find something.
Nice. Oh, very good. Very good. All right. Last thing before we shoot off, mate, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to or say thank you to?
Oh, mate, just Tackle Addiction. Like Steve from Tackle Addiction, like many people know, goes above and beyond. I messaged him, I think it was like 3:00 Friday, out of the blue, and we're just like, man, are you at the shop? And he's like, yep. I was like, sweet, I just put an order in. Can you bring it with you tomorrow? And there he was, rocked up at 4 a.m. with a package in his hand and be like, there you go, man.
At 4 a.m.?
Yeah, 4 a.m.
That's rather early.
Oh, yeah, no comment. No comment. There were people getting their yak ready at like 3:45 in the morning. And I went to a concert on Friday night. So I didn't get home until a bit after 1, and I drove into the city. So I didn't get in there until like 2:30. I fell asleep. I only had like an hour and a half of sleep. Yeah, a long night. A long night. Yeah.
Oh, mate. At 4:00 in the morning, mate, I was still asleep.
Yeah, I would have probably been as well. But it would either go to bed at 1:30 when I got home.
Yeah.
And then probably not wake up at 3 a.m. when I would have probably had to drive in there, or just drive in there and lay the seat back in my car and have an hour nap. But I really did not expect people to be unloading their yak right next to me at like 10 to 4.
That's a little early.
I just looked out the window, looked at him in the face, and I just gave him that look of like, what are you doing? You still have over 2 hours to the comp. Like, what are you doing?
Oh, my goodness. I set my alarm as late, like I live 5 minutes from the launch. I set my alarm as late as I thought was possible, which was 4 to 5.
Yeah.
And I probably made it. I was set up with about 5 minutes before the briefing. That was it.
Beautiful. That's all you need. If everyone did that, it would be normal. Everyone would be happy. you wouldn't get people like me that were just grumpy and didn't want to talk to anyone at the weigh-in because I was like, I don't want to be here. I want to be
I've
in
had
bed.
an hour and a half sleep.
Yeah.
Oh,
I swear
very
I
good.
walked around like a zombie and was just like the most rude bastard, just ignoring everyone. But, well, you get like that.
Sleep deprived. No,
Only a
very
little
good.
bit.
Very good. All right, mate. Well, look, thanks for coming back on the show. Congratulations on another great result, and I'm sure we'll get to speak to you again later in the season.
Mate, hopefully. Who knows? I won't be doing the Hobie series, so I'm taking a year off that and we'll be just doing these for a bit of fun and now jumping into a boat. So
Yeah.
who knows
Hopefully
what will
talk to
go
you
on.
after that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that'll be good.
we'll be good.
All right, mate. You have a good day.
All right. Thanks, man. You too.
Thanks, mate. Okay, so coming in second place, I've got an angler dropping 3 fish, measuring 37, 33, and 36.5, giving him 106.5 centimeters. And second place with me, I've got Jamie Dempsey. Welcome to the show, mate.
G'day, Andrew. Thanks for having me, mate.
Mate, nice little result down on the Georges on the weekend.
Yeah, look, I wasn't expecting to get anything on this round. Last time I competed on the Georges, it was my worst round. I didn't even manage to get a full bag. Yeah, and living on the Central Coast, it's a little bit far for me to pre-fish. I think it's about an hour and a half with no traffic, so it's a little bit hard to get there with my busy schedule. So, like I said, I had no expectations. It was a bit of a throwaway round for me.
Sure.
So when I rocked up, I had absolutely no idea where I was going to go. I was thinking, Woolooware Bay. Am I going to do boats? Am I going to go where I went last time, which is the bay across from where we launch? I just had no idea. And so I'm sort of listening in on some conversations, trying to get a few tips and tricks from some of the boys who had pre-fished. I had a pretty good idea that most people were going to go to Woolooware. And so I was kind of in the back of my mind, I'm like, on the links, I can go pretty fast. I figure I can beat most people to that spot. But at the same time, I'd never been there. I didn't even know what it looked like besides the map. So honestly, I was on the fence up until the very start of the round, sort of thing.
Right. Okay, I'm gonna pull you up right there. Tell me about the links, mate. How are you finding that, and how long have you had it?
I've had it since round 4 of the AFT last year. So whatever that was, wouldn't even be 12 months, but mate, it is the best thing I have ever purchased in my entire life. It is my prized possession.
I like it, man. I just picked one up from Hobie the other day, and yeah, for me, it ticks a lot of boxes. I do like, as you know, I do like my 360 immensely, but for me, just those quick sessions, and I've kept it really basic with no electronics on it. So good.
Yeah, I mean, just the ease of being able to just throw it up on the roof racks and just you're in and out so quick. I'm not a big dude, and so I didn't want to lug. My previous kayak was pretty heavy, and so sometimes you put your back out or put your shoulder out trying to throw it up on the ute. So, mate, this thing's 20, 25 kilos. Throwing that up and down is no worries at all, and
That's it.
I don't mind getting a bit wet. I guess that's the downside on a rough conditions, but yeah, I don't mind it. I'll take that for sure.
I was going to say that's just the trade-off. All right. So listen, you've headed off. You've hit the water and headed off. Tell us about how your plan evolved.
So look, I'm probably 100 meters into my paddle, looking around. I am in the lead. So I'm like, I've got first choice of Woolooware Bay if I want it. I'm heading there. I'm going to Woolooware Bay. And I've got the boats on my right. And I'm looking over there. I'm thinking it's a really low tide, as you would remember when we launched. Like the tide was way out. I'm thinking, because I'd done quite well in the mangroves in the previous round. And I'm thinking, maybe I'll go through top water in the mangroves. And I'm like, the water's not going to be up there. So I'm about 50 meters from the boats, and I thought, you know what, bugger it. I know boats. I'm good at boats. I'm going to do boats. And they were right there. They were super close to the start. I'm like, bugger it. If they're not there, then we'll just play it by ear.
Yeah, so that's off to the right. That's in Gawley Bay, I think.
Correct, yeah. It's only about a couple of 100 meters off where we started.
Yeah, nice. All right, well, tell us how you went.
So I remember, obviously, Jamie McEwen did incredibly well in his sort of competition series throughout last year with his tuned cams and tinies. I didn't have any of them, so when I didn't know what they were when he was talking about them, so I looked them up and I was like, what do I have that's sort of similar? And I thought the Spike 44 kind of looks like them a little bit.
Yeah.
So I tuned up one of them in last year's grand final and I did quite well. So I had one of my Spike 44s, what was it, the matte prawn.
Okay.
Matte prawn tied onto one of my rods there. And so I just started peppering these boats. So with the tuned, I'm a right-handed cast, so all of my casts were on the right, bring it into from the left, bring it into the sort of, so it veered off to my left. And I was getting bites straight away, but it would have been, what was the time? I'm just looking at my notes. It would have been 45 minutes of just constantly getting bites, most boats. And I'm thinking, what am I doing wrong here?
Yeah.
I couldn't pin a fish. So I changed the trebles. I put on some decoys, brand new. The hooks that were on it were pretty sharp, but I was like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I'm giving it a pause. I'm loosening my drag. I'm tightening my. I was trying everything. I was like, is this just not my day? And so I'm about 45 minutes in. I've had over a dozen hits, and I finally get to the end of the boats, and I hit this big flat bottom boat.
Yep.
And it looked great. It's just, when you pull up to a boat, you're like, yeah, this is I've got a good feeling about this. So anyway, put the cast in, hook up, drop it. I was like, oh, bugger.
Yeah.
Second cast, I finally pin a fish. I skull drag it in. It's a 19.5. I was like, you know what? I'm going to measure it. I don't give a shit. I'm going to measure it.
I would.
I don't care how small this thing is.
Yeah.
The way today's going so far, I'm going to measure it. And we've got one on the board. Next cast, another fish. Okay, this one's a bit better. It's a 30-centimeter fish. Okay, we're starting to improve. This is good. Couple more casts, couple more hits, all on the same boat. I go around to the other side. I cast in, and then whack, big hit. I was like, okay, this one feels pinned as well.
Yep.
I play it out, and that was the 36.
Right.
So within about 10 minutes, I've got a full bag, and I'm sitting on whatever that mass is, 80, 90 centimeters, something like that.
That's right.
So I was like, okay, today's turned around. This is not what I expected, but cool. And so what did I do? I was about to change spots because I was like, look, I've only really pinned them on one boat here. So I was going to go to the other bay across the channel.
To Cogra?
Yeah. Because I went there last time. I didn't hit the boats. I hit the edges. Didn't do very well, but I thought, if they're on the boats here, maybe they're on the boats over there.
Yeah.
But before I went, there was one boat that I wanted to hit before I went over there. I got some hits on it.
Sure.
But I mucked up my cast and put it onto the boat and just, buggered the boat. And so I thought, I want to go back there. It was only 30 meters away from this boat that I'd brained all these fish on. And so I went over there. I was like, this will be the last boat that I do before I go to the next bay.
Sure.
So put a couple of casts in and I get a clunk and I get him in and he's a 33. Okay, so I've upgraded that 19.5. So that's a great little upgrade and I'm starting to get an okay bag now. I think I've...
99.
99. I've nearly hit that golden 100 mark. And this is at about 7:20. So those first three fish came at around 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
So this one's about 20 minutes later. So I was like, I think I'm going to stay on these boats. I'm going to do another round of these boats. So about 15 minutes later, I get my second upgrade, which is a 32.
Yep.
Okay, so that puts us on to 101. So I was like, I'm thinking, okay, I might be top 10 now, maybe, if it's a maybe.
Well, you would have been, yeah.
Yeah, depending on how everyone else gone, but I think that's a fairly good guesstimate. I get about another 20 minutes later, so now we're at about just before 8 o'clock, I get another half centimetre upgrade. Okay, so 101.5. Over the next sort of half an hour, I get another 5 small fish, but nothing worth it. I know by this stage, I've done these set of boats. I've done it 3 times, like 3 there and back, there and back. I was like, okay, I've done this spot. And no one else was there. I had a couple of guys. When I first got there, I think there was maybe one of the ladies and then one other dude. And he sort of, once we did our first run through, he said to me, did you catch anything? And I was like, at that state, I hadn't. He's like, yeah, me neither. I'm going to go somewhere else. So I'm glad he did.
Yeah. Nice.
So we're at about 9 o'clock. And that was sort of my aim once I decided to stay, is to leave myself with sort of 3 hours to get over to the other place and have a decent crack at the other boats. So I went over to the other boats, and these didn't seem to have as much growth on them.
Sure.
So look, it took me a good 45 minutes of just peppering these boats, just working my way through them till I found some boats that actually had some decent growth, and I was starting to get some hits again. And I found that they were the ones that were a little bit deeper into the bay. So I think that the people who actually use their boats and clean them must sort of sit closer to the channel.
Yeah, that probably the richer people.
Yeah. So, I mean, there was less seagulls, when they're all camped on there and they're all crapping all over it, and the boat's just looking a mess. That's when I started getting some fish.
Okay.
So I don't mind the seagulls. They're annoying, but it means that there's generally some fish under there.
I'll tell you what, they're annoying. I know they're annoying in Gawley Bay. They won't leave you alone.
Yeah. At least, I mean, there were some babies floating around, so I can understand. But yeah, as long as you've got your rods above you, they're not going to hit you.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So we're at about 10 to 10 now. I pull up to this manky-looking boat, and I've cast in. I pretty much can see my lure.
Yeah.
It's only about a metre from the links. And I see this big fish come out and clunk it. And he sort of, when they hit it, and they think that they've sort of won the prize, they just sit there like sort of admiring their work, but they don't realise they've been hooked. And then he was like, oh, shit, I've been hooked. And off he went.
Yeah.
Tried to take me under. I got the links out of there, got him away from the ropes, played him real slow, like super light drag, and got him in. And that was the 37.
Wow.
So, yeah, I was like, okay, that was my bag. But honestly, at that stage, I think because I filmed the whole thing, I'll put it on YouTube in a week or two.
What's your channel?
My channel is Jimmy, Jimmy, Flicks, Flicks Fishing, Jimmy Flicks Fishing. The last round's on there as well over at Parramatta. So if anyone wants to have a look, check it out. So, yeah, I think I had 106.5 by that stage, and I was thinking, maybe top 5, maybe.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if I'd got that in George's last round, I think I would have maybe scraped top 5, but I think the top one was like 120 or something.
Yeah, I think so.
Ryan got a pretty good bag.
Yeah.
So from there, I kept peppering, but I think I got another 3, a couple of 30s, but no upgrades. And that's sort of where I ended.
That sort of ended your day. All right, let's run through a couple of things. So what were you sort of using in terms of lines, leaders and rods, and what sort of gear did you run?
So I bought 4 rods in, a mixture of different infeeds, SK, Z, I had a TD0 in there. But the rod that I used all day was my cheapest rod, which was my atomic Bream crank.
Okay. I
didn't touch any of my other rods. And throughout the day, I used 3 different Spike 44s. One was with the matte prawn, one was a Moby coloured, and then the other one was the blue Suji. I don't know, the blue one.
Yep.
So I lost the first 2. One fish did brick me. He bricked me so fast that I don't even know if he was big or not, to be honest. He just got me. But yeah, everything was caught on the atomic Bream crank. All 3 lures were the Spike 44, and that is all I did all day.
And that's all you did all day. And in terms of fishing, so assume if you were listening to Jamie McEwen's account, I assume you were tuning your lures left or right. Or I can't remember which way you went.
Yep.
And how did you go about working? Did you just crank the hulls? Did you twitch? Did you pause? How did that look?
So if you'd asked me that before I looked at the footage, I would have told you that I was rolling in under the boat, and then it'd be a twitch, roll, twitch. But when I reviewed the footage, it was a slow roll, and then it was like a sweep, like almost just a real gentle sweep. So it sort of moved the lure just a little bit more radically than just a slow roll.
Yeah.
So it was like a slow roll under, sweep. So to sort of flick it.
Yep.
And yeah, but it was a continuous slow roll. I didn't even realize I was doing that until I looked at the footage.
Well, there you go. How good's camera footage?
Yeah, it makes a difference.
And with the detuning, how much did you detune? And were they just cranking left or right, or what that looked like?
Yeah, so it's surprising how little you need to tune it. I came into the competition with 2 tuned. I had to tune the third once I lost the first 2.
Sure.
But one of them was like it sort of came up really aggressively under the sort of outside of the boat.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? So it'd come up real quick and it's almost tapping on the underside. And I lost that one because I grabbed onto some crap under the boat.
Yeah.
And then my other one, it wasn't as tuned so aggressively. So it'd sort of work into the middle of the boat almost.
Yeah.
but it would work a bit deeper. So sometimes that one wasn't as effective as the one that would aggressively tap on the underside, but not as deep in under the boat, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. It's a very cool skill to learn. And once you've got it, cranking boat holes can be so much fun.
So I got hits probably every 3 boats.
Wow.
And I hit a lot of boats throughout the day.
Yeah.
It was kind of weird. I found that my first cast, I wouldn't get a bite. It was usually on the second and the third cast. It's like maybe they woke up to it. I don't know what was going on. But
wow.
Yeah, so it just sort of shows, give the boats a little bit of time. I don't sit there for too long. But yeah, it's definitely worth 2-3 casts. And if you don't sort of get those casts right, stay there until you get one right. Because, there were a few times where I'd go a bit wide. And actually, in saying that, that's the other beauty of tuning your lures. You don't have to be this accurate caster, which I'm not. The amount of times that I put it onto the boat.
Nice.
But it gives you a little bit of leeway. You can go 100 mil off the edge, or you can go a metre off the edge. And if you've tuned it properly and know how to work it, you can still get it in under the boat and catch fish.
Yeah, I think that's key. And that's exactly what Jamie McKeown was saying, whose lures will crank right in. They'll come from a long way out and end up under the boat. So
I'll be curious to see, I'll probably grab some of the cams just to see if there's any difference.
Yeah.
I've tuned the Kadachi, but I found that they were a little bit harder to work. Yeah, that's just my observation. The spikes worked a little bit better, and it's the spike MR, not the DR.
I assume that's the closest one to the cams. And very good, mate.
I don't think I answered your lines and leaders.
Tell me. I forgot.
Yeah, so most of my rods, even though I used only, I guess the one that I used had 6 pound braid, and all my rods had 5 pound leader, just the finesse. Yeah.
Okay. Well, 5 pounds fine. Like it's sort of somewhere in the middle. It's not super heavy, but certainly not super light. So
for sure. Yeah, I've got a lot of confidence in the 5. The 4, not as much, and 6, it's all in your head.
Yeah.
I'm confident with 5.
It's all right hooking them on 6 or 8. You feel good about it, but if you're not getting bites, you're like, I should be on 2.
Yeah, your mind starts playing tricks.
Very good. Well, mate, I reckon that's a pretty good rundown of the fishing. Tell us about the second place, mate. What do you get to take home?
$450. So that's pretty handy. Yeah, for my first prize, proper prize money. Very happy with that.
And a big check?
Big check, yeah. My last one, I got a little check. From the last round, I got 4th place. And I was being smart. I was driving past Glen Allen trying to flash my check, and it flew out the window.
Fair, that's what you get.
Yeah, that's what I get.
That's what you get. Fair enough. All right, mate. So look, last thing before we shoot off, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to or say thank you to?
Yeah, I need to shout out my wife. She's super supportive of me fishing, spending a lot of hours on the water, especially with a little YouTube channel.
Yeah.
The amount of times that you go out, you don't actually get any footage. So she's super supportive, doesn't give me any flack for spending as much time as I do on the water. The Lynx boys, they know who they are. And Warren and Craig for running the AFT. It's such a great stepping stone competition for someone like me. So my last year was my first kayak tournament fishing season. And for me, the Hobie was just a little bit too advanced for what I was after. It was just, to have the live well 2 days, it was just a bit much. And so for me to dip my toe in the water with the AFT, it was just perfect, especially seeing as they sort of move around New South Wales a little bit, or, around Sydney area.
Yeah.
So Tuggerah Lakes was right near me, and it was just perfect. And then it gave me the confidence to do my first Hobie tournament up in Foster, which was great.
Yeah.
So if anyone hasn't given a crack, check out the AFT because, they're a great little easygoing tournament to just test your skills and dip your toe in the water of tournament angling.
How good's that, mate? All right, so, mate, we're going to head off. But last thing before we do head off again is, mate, just give us a plug for your YouTube again.
Yep, so that's Jimmy Flicks Fishing on YouTube. It's pretty much predominantly bream fishing at the moment, and I will throw up this weekend's. So what are we? On the 3rd of the 2nd, it'll probably go up in a week or 2.
Yeah.
And you can check out what I did and steal my secrets.
Sounds like a good plan, mate. All right, terrific, mate. Well, congratulations, and thanks again for coming on.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Andrew.
All right. And finally, in first place, I have an angler dropping 3 fish with the biggest fish for the comp, 45.5 centimetres, 34 and 33, giving him 112.5 centimetres and first place. I'd like to welcome back to the Bream Fishing Project, Jason Reed. Welcome back, mate.
Thanks, Andy.
Mate, what a great start to the competition year for you.
Yeah, it was unreal.
Yeah.
Just topped it off.
And you got a big one.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, mate.
In the right place, right? Right place. And
exactly. Tell me, were you registered for the comp a couple of weeks back?
No, I missed it.
But
I was working that weekend. So I just said to Craig, put me down as a wait list just in case.
Yeah.
So, yeah, got through for this one.
Well, there you go, mate. There you go. I don't know how I feel about that. All right, mate. So you get down there to have a look around before the comp?
No, I didn't. I haven't fished there up there well into last year.
Wow.
Yeah, but just went for a social fish pretty much. Just went with the tide, went upriver.
Yep.
And so just cruise down and see what's in the deep.
Yeah, okay.
Look around and make me way on. Yeah.
Oh, very good, mate. Very good. All right. Well, tell us then. So you plan to do a social fish and head with the current. Where'd you start? How'd you go?
Well, I looked around the bridge, Tom Ugley's a bit. Just thought, so as I was going through, there was a few things marking, but I didn't stop. I just kept going. I pretty much went to the Hobie start line.
Okay. Yep.
I hit the reef.
Wow.
And hit that reef in like 3 metres of water where it drops off to 6.
Yeah, in the shallows. Yeah.
But it was too hard to fish. It was the cockles have built up that much.
Really?
I couldn't. The first 6, 7 casts, I couldn't get the vibe off the bottom.
Okay, so you lost a few lures.
No, I didn't lose them. That's the thing. I actually dragged up a soccer ball size bunch of cockles.
Right.
I got them up, netted them, and I went again. I tried vibes, plastics, like I threw down. I couldn't get them off the bottom. I kept getting them snagged.
Wow.
So I went, nah, I'm out of here.
Yep.
So I moved down to the deeper water and just fished that 6 metres, nothing. And I moved back down further towards more in line with the start line.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes from 6 to 3.5 to 3 metres.
Sure.
And it's a bit cockly, like it's real shelly, the bottom, more than cockle. And I just fished that. And sure enough, probably the first drift, bang, first one in the boat. And a couple more, and I got another one. They were all about the sort of 31, 32, sort of thereabouts.
So, okay, yeah.
So it took a bit. They were just very timid.
Yeah,
They
right.
were only just touching the vibe.
Yeah.
And I got a few whiting, flatties in amongst the drifts. But the brim would just tap. Or they weren't taking it and taking off.
Yeah.
They were just tapping it. And then wind them on. And then they'd go, oh, rightio. And they actually swam to the surface.
Yeah, right. Okay, they came up.
Yeah, they came up.
That's interesting. What vibe were you running?
The Hurricane, was on the camo,
So the blade?
The blade, yep.
Yeah, okay. So the vehicle vibe or whatever it is.
Yeah, vibe, yep.
35, yeah. So not the one with the stingers.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
So just running that pretty well. That's all I threw. That there and the Sprat.
Okay.
So I was just throwing that, but then nothing was really happening on the plastic. So I put it away, and that's all I threw for about would have been about 2.5, 3 hours. I threw the vibe.
Yeah, okay.
Just kept moving out and drifting back up, out. Every drift I got something.
Right, okay.
Wasn't always a brim, but yeah, I got something.
Yeah, so it was an okay day's fishing.
Yeah, it was nice. I was just sitting on it, just waiting for the tide to push up.
Yeah.
And I could see where I wanted to go, and I could still see oysters. So I didn't go in. So I just waited till it got up. And then the last drift, I just drifted all the way in. I got myself set. I re-rigged again as I drifted across. And, just got in there on the pontoons and on the jetties.
Yeah.
And just set myself up. And I was just using the Twitch 50.
Okay.
I was using Twitch 50, the Hurricane one. And I peppered the joint up and down between 2 sections, rocky outcrops and stuff, hitting the bottom, got a couple of little taps, nothing. I'm like, righto, what's going on here? What do they want?
Yeah.
So I just changed it up. I put a 1/20th jig head on and a camo prawn. And first cast, I just threw it straight up under the jetty. There was a boat shed, and a jetty coming out off it.
Yeah.
And threw it straight up underneath there. And, yeah, sure, it just went clunk. And I went,
yeah.
And nothing. Absolutely nothing. It just, I was like, I got snagged.
Right.
Oh, what's going on here? So I pulled on it, and it started to come towards me. There was a gum tree. There's a branch sitting just on the boat shed. And I thought, there's another branch in the water. I've got it. And I got it about a metre off the boat ramp, off that, and 2 head shakes, boom, boom. And I've gone, oh, that's a fish.
Yeah.
What's that? And then I let it off, and nothing again. It was just a dead weight. I'm like, what? So I pulled on it without holding the spool this time. And as I pulled it, the drag was coming out, and nothing. I got another metre on him. And I thought, what is it? And next minute, he just went, frick this, I'm out of here. And just went straight back underneath the jetty, in between the 2 poles, straight up. I got 2 metres, he took 5. And all I could do is just point the rod down and at him and just hold on.
Yeah.
So 4 pound leader, that's all I had on.
Ouch.
And next second, he's just turned around and come back out the way he went in with the current.
Okay.
He come back with the current and turned around and sat under the pontoon. And all he did is put his head into the current and just sat beside that jetty, just pumping away, pumping. And I go, I had absolutely nothing on him. I couldn't do a thing. Otherwise, he was going to pop him. All I could just do is sit there and hold the rod and just try and pedal back and just watch. And I didn't even know what it was. I had not seen him. So, and then he just pumped away, and he slowly come towards me. Then he come up, and I've just gone, holy dooly. Look at the size of this thing. And I just let him go. And I thought, like I was saying before, I think it was about 5, 6, maybe 7 times I tried to net him. He just did not want to come to the boat.
Oh.
And when he did, he just went, he come up, he done another lunge, and then just went, I'm stuffed. And he just laid up on his belly and come to the surface and just sat there on his side. Right. And I just scooped him up.
Nice.
And even when he was on the boat, I tried to get the photos as quick as I could because he was knackered. He was I didn't want him to die. And I got him back in as quick as I could, just took a few shots, got him on the brag mat, took a photo and back in.
Yeah.
And it took a bit to revive him, and he went.
Yeah, okay.
He was, I didn't want to keep him out. He was done.
Yeah, okay.
So he wouldn't.
But solid.
Yeah, but absolute solid fish. Yeah. So
very good.
Very old fish. A lot of scars.
Yeah, okay.
Battle scars, especially on his face.
Yeah, right. Right. So gulp, crabby, and gulp porn and camo?
Camo, yep.
4 pound leader. And you said the leader took a bit of damage?
Yeah. The leader, I could not tie a knot in the leader. After I got him in, I cut the hook off and redone it, and I could not tie it. I had to re-rig completely. Change the leader.
Wow.
That was done.
Wow.
So, and just, there was nothing left. So, it was amazing to actually, everything went my way.
Yeah.
So, him to go in under the pontoon and actually swim back out.
He swam back out. He went, I've got to be in the deep. I can't be in the shallow.
Yeah, and he's just gone in and straight back out. But amazing, a big fish like that, it just did nothing to start with. It was just a donk and just sat there with his head into the current.
Yeah, right. Wow. And what rod were you using?
What have I got? The infeeds.
Okay.
I think it was the 610 for that one on.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay.
And the infeed reels from 2.5.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, that's a cool capture. And what are you thinking after that? You've got your 45.5, so you're probably claiming big brim at that point. Or thinking.
I was thinking that's got to really come to it. If someone pips that one, they're doing So
if someone pips that, they deserve it.
So yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's my personal best for length.
Right. Okay. Oh, very
40.
Good. Yeah,
I think it's about 43.5 was my PB before that I've measured.
Yep.
But that one there, 45.5. That was that's my biggest. So to get that, when I looked it on the rule, I went, oh, that's good. I ticked another box.
And in a comp.
And in a comp too. Yeah.
So good. Oh, there you go. And after that, mate, was there any more fish after that?
No, not really. It was strange. As the tide got, that was about half tide, maybe a bit over. And as the tide got higher, the fish got smaller.
Yeah, okay.
And I was still fishing the edges, and I worked my way around back and forwards over this section. And there was just 28 was the biggest I could get, and 24s, 25s, a couple of 20s, and then so nothing over 28. So I was lucky to have those 30s in early.
That's right.
Have those in there, but I just couldn't. I thought, well, the tide's pushing up. There was that much bait. There was a heap of stuff pushing, but the bigger fish weren't feeding really up there in the shallows.
Yeah.
So
Interesting. Didn't matter, mate. You had enough.
That's it. So pretty much I just done the stretch, and then I just started heading back. Had the wind and the tide against me, so I just thought, look, I'll just cruise back, and
all's well that ends well.
Yeah, no, it was a good day out.
I was surprised when I saw the photo that you put up yesterday, because usually you would fish the back of Woolooware Bay. That would be your go-to for a comp, but
I haven't actually fished Woolooware Bay. I did a while back now, but just one afternoon after work, I shot out there. Just thought, no, I just need to go fish, and just, I'm only down the road, so I just shot in and shot up there. But that was the only time I fished Woolooware, and for a long time.
A long time, yeah. And it's changed too. They've pulled a lot of the stuff out.
Yep. No, they've pulled a lot of it out up there. I know a couple of the boys that are doing the work.
Oh, it's making me sad.
I asked their construction workers, some guys that are doing demo work, that are doing it. They were asked to do, start pulling out sticks and all the old racks. So, and they pull out all the old boats as well that are sinking and all around all the bays and that. Yeah, they got the contract to do all that. So I said to them, what do you got to pull them out for? They're the best things for. We love them.
Yeah.
It's structure, the brim and all the fish, and that's what they feed on. Holds the bait and they feed on it. Don't get rid of it. He said, apparently they want them all out.
It is what it is. I guess that's changed.
Yeah. I haven't been right up the back of Woolooware Bay for, like I said, I haven't been right up there, but I've heard everyone talking about it, and they said they've got rid of all the rocks and all the stuff up there. They've been there for that long.
This is what I'm hearing. Yeah.
We've all fished it for that many years.
And now it's gone.
A lot of us, it's our go-to spot, especially on that mid-tide, high tide.
Yeah.
All those rock walls, now they're gone.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how it holds up if they do strip a lot of it out, what sort of a bay it becomes. If it's just mangroves or whether you can fish flats and do okay. I don't really know.
Yeah, that's it. See if the weed gets up there or what grows in there.
Yeah. I've got to ask, if you know a guy that's pulling stuff out, did he pull lures out? Did they find stuff?
No, they didn't say anything.
Oh, we got to know, mate.
Yeah. No, I haven't talked since when I last worked with them, they were in there. They said that's what they were starting to do. I haven't seen them since they started the work.
Okay. Yeah.
But but I knew that's what their next project in the bay. They had a few boats to go, and then they were starting there. And they take everything back to Mangrove Lane and then take it out of there.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and dump it.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right. I reckon that's a pretty good rundown. What do you get to take home for first place in Big Bream?
It was $700 for first place and $100 for Big Bream.
Wow. Thanks for coming.
Yeah. No, it was a good day at the office, mate.
Very good day, mate.
Yeah. It was good.
Very good. All right, mate. Last thing before we shoot off, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to or say thank you to?
Just Adam, fishing.com. Just helping out with some lures and that just before the comp.
Beautiful.
And that. So thank you very much.
And now you got some more money.
Thanks everyone for the weekend.
Yep, absolutely. And you got more money to go back in there and spend some more money on
That's
lures.
it. Yep, that's it.
And some new leader.
Go in one hand, out the other.
That's it. All right, mate. Congratulations on a great win. And, mate, hopefully we get to talk to you again later in the season.
No worries. Thanks, Andrew.
Thanks, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Okay, so there it is. Joshua, Jamie, and Jason coming up trumps. Thanks, guys, for coming on and recording the interviews. I really appreciate it. Like I said in the intros, there's a couple of comps coming up for the AFT. As I'm recording this next weekend, we've got a Vic Bream. And we've also got that big road trip from ABT coming up where they're going to come down and do the Hawkesbury and do the Australian Open. I can't wait for that. It's always a good one to watch and a good one to record. So that will be pretty awesome. Anyway, I think I'm going to leave it there for this week. And I'll talk to you next week on the Bream Fishing Project. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. Hopefully you were informed, inspired and entertained. If you were able to learn something or just enjoyed listening, please consider subscribing and rate us on your favourite podcasting platform.